Welcome back to our final segment of the IH Sports Network's Roundtable, and we are joined now by our legend of the game. And before we introduce him, we got to thank Plateau DrugCenter and Scott County Pharmacy for jumping on board as the sponsor of this segment. We're looking forward to this all through the basketball season, the remainder of basketball season, and those folks are kind enough to sponsor that. Plateau DrugCenter, located in the old South Scott Shopping Center in Oneida. And, of course, you've got Scott County Pharmacy is in the Grace Professional Building in Huntsville, so they've got you covered wherever you're at in Scott County. So we want to thank them, Tim Smith, for sponsoring this. And with that, I'll just turn it over to you and let you introduce our legend of the game.
All right. So for those that may think he's too young to be a legend, well, he is young for sure. But Kolby Morgan is our legend here tonight, and we're thankful to have him with us. And we knew it was a narrow window to get you in, Kolby, here, because you're busy. You got things going on. So just wanted to talk with you about some different things. And we're moving from football season into basketball season. This is our first basketball one, but also, we've had the bowl season come through, and you know a little bit about all those things. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have you here tonight. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about high school, and you were on a high school football team that had some really good years. You made the playoffs each of the 4 years. Your junior year, 2019, you guys went 8-5. You made the quarterfinals, and you're now a punter. Of course, most folks know, but I don't want to assume everybody knows that Kolby's a punter for the University of Tennessee, and you were a punter for the Oneida Indians as well as a running back. Talk to us a little bit about coming up through middle school. When did you first start punting, and who were some of your coaches in middle school and some of that?
I'd say I started punting around my 7th grade year. I saw Coach Sexton. He was my coach in middle school. I saw him messing around during a break or something, practice punting a football. And I was like, that looks fun. I want to try that. So I started punting around then. And then in high school, in small schools, it works like you'll just throw people out there and see who can kick it the farthest. And luckily that was me. I'm glad it was. But that's what happened my freshman year. And ever since then, I've just been going to camps and stuff, and it worked out for me. So.
Okay, and so now in high school, I remember you mostly at the running back position. Did you play much defense in high school?
I wish I could say that I did, but I didn't. It's something I talked about with Coach Lambert and stuff my senior year. He was like, you're going to have to play defense this year. And I was like, yeah. And then the first game, I think I had like 36 carries. And I was like, Coach, I can't play defense.
Right.
I was over there dying. But, no, I was mainly offense and punting in high school.
Okay, so he had other uses and needs for you in that. So Coach Lambert was your high school coach. So now Coach Lambert's a pretty fiery guy.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember most about high school? What was maybe the biggest win or the biggest moments you remember from high school football?
I have a really funny story. I remember I forget which game it was, but Jacob Hamilton. He's not really like a fiery guy, and we were in the locker room we were about to go out, and Jacob Hamilton looked at Coach Lambert and he was like, Coach, slap me in the face. Coach Lambert was like, what? And he was like, slap me in the face. And Coach Lambert slapped him in the face, and then Coach Lambert was like, slap me in the face. And we were all just watching like, what in the world's going on here? And Jacob slapped him in the face, and he was like, harder. And Jacob slapped him again. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, Coach Lambert's definitely a fiery guy, and I'm lucky that I had him as a coach in high school.
No surprise he was part of a state championship for Anderson County this year, right?
Yeah. I'm glad that happened for him. It was well deserved.
All right. So in those 4 years, the Indians went 26-20, but probably the biggest turnaround and the biggest success you experienced in high school was the basketball. And coming into your freshman year, the 2 prior years, the basketball team had an 11-48 record. 11 wins, 48 losses. Mm-hmm. And you come in as a freshman. Of course, Coach King comes in, and there's a lot of talent there. And you guys immediately start to turn things around. You're 14-15 as a freshman. Then by your sophomore year, you guys are 23-10, and you're in you host a sub-state game against Cosby that night.
Mm-hmm.
And you lost that one, but it was a rapid turnaround, rapid success there. And then by the next year, the Indians – again, get the sub-state game. University High comes in, you get that big win, and it's time to go to the state. Things didn't work out the senior year, but I'll get to that in just a minute. Talk about that high school experience in basketball, the big games, the rivalries? What were some of the teams that you just couldn't wait to lace up and go play?
Well, coming in my freshman year, my leg was broke, and I basically just watched that whole season. And right from the get-go, I knew it was going to be easy to play for Coach King because he's just so like passionate about the game himself. And when you have a coach that's that bought into the game, they're easy to play for. And we just got used to playing with each other our sophomore, junior year, and like you said, the sub-state game sophomore year. I don't think me and Nathan were ready for that type of environment. There was a lot of people there. There was no standing room like in the gym floor. So,
Right.
But junior year we had the same type of game and we were ready for it. And that was probably one of the best times I've had in high school because all of us just played so well together. There was no selfishness, and that sub-state game specifically, everyone was just like on fire. Basically, there was no doubt that we were going to win that game.
Now, there's no way to prove me wrong, but that team was rolling so strong out of that sub-state game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I got to turn around. That was on a Monday night. 2 days later, I'm in Murfreesboro calling the girls' game. Ben's down there with me, and the Lady Indians fall in that first round. But there was one more game played after the Lady Indians that night, and everything was shut down. I mean, I remember we got the notification that the NCAA tournament had been canceled, and we were thinking, oh my goodness, this is, of course, we're talking about COVID. This is bigger than we ever expected. Absolutely robbed at that point. Were all the teams involved in that had earned that right to go try to settle it on the court, and it'll never be done. There's only been 4 Oneida teams that have won a game at the state. I truly believe this team was in a position, and looking at that matchup, it'd have been tough, but I think it could have been possible. But, I mean, are there even words to talk about the disappointment? How did you hear about they had canceled the tournament?
Basically, they just sent out a text to us, Coach King did, and, I mean, you really can't do anything about it, but, yeah, I mean, I feel like we were rolling at that time, and I feel like we had a really good shot, so.
I can't imagine how disappointing
I
that
think
was.
it had been like 20 years or something around that since someone had went to state, so the boys team. The girls went the year before, but.
Right. Yeah, both teams had made it. It was
Yeah.
just it was a special time.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened. But going in, you still have a senior year to come, and it seemed like that things would set up that way, but it didn't work out. And I don't want to get into the senior year necessarily, the nuts and bolts of that, but just the experience of COVID. And I had a son that graduated 1 year ahead of you, but I almost feel like he was at a big advantage. He had most of his senior year before COVID hit there in March. But do you feel like your entire senior year was just strange?
Yeah, it was definitely strange, but, you know, I'm glad we still got to play games because there was talk that we weren't even going to get to have a season at first.
Right.
Like the whole summer we were working out and stuff, and we didn't know if it was going to be for nothing. But, no, I'm glad we got to at least have a season. And it got weird towards the end of the year because we didn't have many problems until the end of the football season. And then people started getting COVID and all the contact tracing and stuff. And I think in the first round against Hampton, I think we had like 6 or 7 starters out because of COVID. And, yeah, it was a weird experience for sure.
So going through that spring, though, when did you first you had offers, by the way. You had scholarship offers from schools. But when did you make the decision that you were going to not follow those and you were going to take the path that has led you to the University of Tennessee?
I told my dad, like, I wanted to go somewhere, like, as big as I could, no matter if it was on scholarship or not. And at first he didn't agree with that. He just wanted me to get my school paid for, which I don't blame him. But no, I felt like I would regret it if I didn't take the opportunity to go play somewhere big. So.
He would have been okay if it had been Auburn, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he would have loved
But
that.
since it was Tennessee, that was a different thing. So tell me about the process. How do you start? What do you do first to become a Vol?
Well, I think it's important for, like, every athlete in Scott County to know, like having good game film and stuff will get you looked at by schools and stuff. But I feel like what more people should look into is going to camps. Like I went to kicking camps that they basically get your name out there. So, like, coaches can see you because it's hard for coaches to find you when you go to a smaller school. And what most coaches do, they'll look at the rankings, like in these camps and stuff, and they'll look down the rankings. No matter what ranking you are, I mean, you're going to get looked at. So I feel like that's important to, like, get your name out there and stuff.
All right. So what was the first step on the campus into the football facility like for you? When did that come, and what was that like?
Well, I moved in the summer, and probably the first week I was an emotional wreck. It's a whole different world over there, and but you know, it's an awesome experience. I'm pretty sure I made the right decision. Fairly confident.
I think, by the way, I think a lot of us from Oneida, when you go on that first college, it's an emotional thing for all of us. Okay, I was there. I think we've all been there and thought, I'm not going to hang around and do this.
Yeah.
But
Especially at a school that's got 28 or 30,000 students
Yeah.
walking all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So now, but you hung in there, stuck with it, and you get started. So I'm going to ask you, are there any similarities to football practices at UT in high school? And then what are the biggest differences?
I would say there's very few similarities, and besides, like, obviously it's the game of football, and like football's the same, but as far as like the logistics of everything goes, like the practices are very well planned out, and like if someone messes up a rep or something, you don't get another chance because we're on like a strict time schedule, and like everything's super planned out up there.
So, and you were telling me about the practice, because I was asking you, what is the practice schedule like? Do you just punt, or do you tell folks what that's like?
So, I mean, we have punt, like team punt first thing, and then I'll warm up. I'll get out there 30 minutes early, all the specialists do, and we warm up, and then we'll have team punt. And then after that, we kind of just do individual drills and stuff and work with each other. And then at the end of practice, we have a little bit of conditioning, which every specialist hates. So, but yeah, it's basically just like a rundown of what goes on in practice.
All right, and Greg, I think we've got like a little video. I'm going to ask you about this guy. Greg's going to pop up the video of.
And if you really look at what's outside, BT Potter might hit his head on the goalpost if he pitches. No, it's hard.
Look at the reaction on the Tennessee sideline.
He's all fired up. It's a great play.
Now that's your coach, right?
Yeah, that's the special teams coordinator.
And Coach Eck.
Yeah,
That's what you're calling. So now you talk about Tony Lambert taking a slap to the face.
Yeah.
He looks like he would be down for that.
Oh yeah, my first game there actually, we ran out of the tunnel, and I was just like, my mind was blown. Like, it was my first time running through the tee and everything, and when I get back to the sidelines, I'm all calmed down and like just taking everything in. I look up at the jumbotron, and Coach Eck has blood running down his forehead, and I was asking Paxton, I was like, what happened to him? And apparently he headbutted a player with the helmet on, and I was like, my goodness. But yeah, he's definitely a character. He's a guy that you want in your program, which I could say that about every coach that we have, but he brings the energy to the players every single day. And something funny is if he asks you how you're doing and you're like, good, he'll be like, what? Because he wants you to say great every single time, and it's just funny. He's an awesome guy to be around.
So now we're not quite a week removed. I believe that moment was brought on when Clemson missed the field goal or faked the field goal and was stopped on that. That's what he was so excited about, right?
Yeah, he takes a lot of passion in special teams, and anytime another coach thinks that they have a really good special teams unit, he just loves when we go out there and we beat them. So.
And now, I mean, Ben, I think you would agree that was a key tone setter in that Orange Bowl game.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
What was that like? You got to go to the Music City Bowl last year, which I'm sure it's awesome to get to go to any bowl game at all. And, of course, we all know what happened there in that one. It felt like it didn't quite finish right. But this year you find yourself in Miami. Now it's a New Year's Day Bowl. I mean, I think we all expected Tennessee to be better this year. But did you think it would be this good?
To be honest, I thought it was going to be this good last year. I have a lot of confidence in our team, and I think that we're the best team in the nation when everyone's playing right. And it was an awesome experience going to the Orange Bowl because that's something that program hasn't been a part of in a really long time too. And it was a lot of fun just hanging around the team and stuff.
And traditionally, the Orange Bowl's not really gone all that well for Tennessee. I think that was only the second Orange Bowl win for the Vols in that series. But you talked a little bit about some of your teammates on the special teams, and we got one more picture that that I think Greg was going to be able to pop up for us. So folks can see this picture at home. Now, I wasn't aware of this until I got home and was scrolling through social media the night after this. This was the game where Zeb dunked it, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Yeah, so he had the 2-dunk performance. Tell us who we're looking at here. Starting with you, you're the second guy standing there on the left. Who are we looking at across there?
To my left in the picture is Chase McGrath. He's our kicker. He's the one that hit the game winner against Alabama. I'm sure a lot of people know him. And then Paxton, he's one of our punters. And on the left of him is Toby Wilson. He's a kickoff guy.
Okay, and these guys are all seniors this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so likely Chase and Paxton are probably looking at the next level, would you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Chase is going to pursue it, but I know Paxton is, and he definitely has a shot. He's a great punter. So.
Okay, so that leaves a position open going into the next year, 2023.
Yes, sir.
Our punter for a number of years, Paxton Brooks, is gone. And so what's that going to be like? What's the competition going to be like?
Well, we brought in an Australian punter, and as of now, we're going to be competing for the starting job, and we'll see how that goes.
So does part of that competition come to the spring game? Will one of you be on one team, one on the other?
The spring will be a really big part of that competition, like we've already talked and stuff, and there'll be a number of team reps that will both be taken, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Now, I've asked you about Coach Eckler a little bit, and tell us a little bit about Coach Heupel. Just looking at him, and I saw an article this week describing how he was kind of playing basketball with one of his kids before the Alabama game, and how he's really able to be a guy and not the coach all the time. Is that what you've experienced with him?
Oh yeah, that's 100% true. You know, when you see these big names on TV, you think, like, these guys don't pay no attention to me. Like, I'm from a small town. But he makes everyone feel welcome on the team, and he's definitely turned the program around, too. Like, and he makes the little things big. When I first got there, I think the team before he got there had, like, an insane number of misses. And he explained to the players, he was like, guys, this can't be happening. And then, like, 3 months later, there was just a huge difference. Like, everyone was showing up to workouts on time. Like, he made a big difference in the program in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and now he doesn't seem quite like Coach Eck. He seems almost he seems just so steady and calm. But does the team feed off of that? Because he doesn't look like he ever panics.
No, he's a really, really calm guy, and it's kind of funny in meetings sometimes. Like, Eck will just be going crazy and screaming, and then he'll be like, right, Coach Hype? And Coach Hype's just like, yeah, it's like, I think he exhausts him a little bit. But, yeah, Coach Hype, he's a really calm guy, and I believe he knows what he's doing.
All right, so Tennessee, a great year, but there was a couple of bumps along the way. Obviously, the Georgia game down there, and you know, you guys were ranked 1 and 2 at that point in that meeting, and then there was the South Carolina game. I think was kind of a surprise to all of us. Was that a surprise to you? And what do you take away from that?
Yeah, it was. I think what it comes down to is, you know, if you don't go out there to play and you don't take every opponent the same, then you're going to get beat. And I think we just got a little bit satisfied with the success that we had, and we let them get the best of us. So.
All right. One more mention I want to make sure we ask about is when you got into punt in Neyland Stadium in your freshman year. How did that take place?
I would tell you about the first punt, but I don't remember anything.
But, I mean, why were you out there? What happened?
Oh, so Paxton, he pulled his groin in the game before against Pitt, and that was probably my, I think, second game in Neyland Stadium. And they're like, Kolby, you got to warm up while he was in the tent. And I was like, what? So I went over there and started warming up. And luckily he came out of the tent and then went in there. But that whole next week, they told me there's a chance that you might start. And I took reps with the ones all week, and they told me on Friday that I was starting. And I was just so thankful. It was an awesome experience to go out there and punt in front of that many people.
So just that worth it all, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, and things did go pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That day?
Yeah.
Now, so folks know, and Oneida connection, I know Ben pointed it out at the time, but the long snapper, the man who snapped the ball to you that day, who was that?
Yeah, his name's Matthew Slansky, but we just call him Matty. Yeah, his mom's from here, went to high school here, and he's a great guy, and yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, his mom, Debbie Woods, Sparky Woods' sister, she was a Lady Indian, a Lady Indian basketball player on one of the great teams, or several of the great teams for the Lady Indians. So it's kind of neat. I know you pointed that out, that connection when it occurred. And I'm going to pause here. I got just a few final questions for Kolby, but do you guys have anything you want to ask our legend this week?
New offensive coordinator was named. What's he like? First of all, his name and what's he like?
Joey Hazel. Yeah, he's a really good guy, and he was actually our quarterback coach, and I think there won't be much of a problem him stepping in there because I mean he's already familiar with the playbook and everything going on there. So.
Tim talked to you about the Tennessee Tech game last year when you got the opportunity to start and play in Neyland Stadium, and you've already said you didn't remember your first punt.
No. And
it was an okay punt. Okay, it was nothing wrong with that punt, but your second punt. I know you remember your second punt.
Yeah.
It goes. You'd have to remind me the distance on that, but maybe 60.
I think it was
60-ish.
57.
Okay, 57 yards, all in the air, by the way, and pinned them inside the 10-yard line. I know all of us at home were strutting around like that's our dude right there. We know him. What was that? I mean, what's going through your mind after you step in and nail that punt?
Yeah, that first punt, in my mind, I was like, just catch it and get it off because I didn't want it to get blocked or anything. And the second punt, I had a bit more time to think about it. And when I hit it and I just looked up and seen it in the air, it was an awesome feeling. And then the crowd obviously was amazing. But yeah, it was awesome going back to the sidelines and my teammates cheering me on and stuff.
I remember several times in the games, your dad giving you tips on the punt in high school.
Oh yeah,
he was trying to make sure you got that opportunity, and so just talk about him and his influence there.
Yeah, my dad's definitely been a big help. Anytime I want to go work on punting or something at the field or something, he's always quick to ask me if I need any help, and he'll come with me and get the hang times and stuff, snap me the ball. But yeah, he's definitely been a big help in the whole process of getting the UT and stuff. So yeah.
Also, be remiss if we don't give a shout out to Jesse and
Oh,
Isaac.
yeah.
I mean, this is a family that's Indian through and through, and Jesse's one of the Lady Indian greats. You reckon she'll come talk to me sometime like this?
Maybe you'll have to talk to her about that.
Well, all right, you put in a good word for me,
I will.
okay? And Isaac, I know we all followed Isaac. He's doing well, right?
Yeah, he's doing good.
All right.
He's a goofball for sure.
All right. Now, I just want to ask you, what's your major?
I'm in neuroscience right now.
Neuroscience.
No, I'm
Excellent.
totally kidding. No, I'm not smart enough for that. But I'm in finance right now. But I may end up changing it to management, business management. So.
Well,
Or neuroscience.
Yeah.
you know, IHSN is going to need some business management here in about 2 years. So you just think about that. What about this? When you finish up, any ideas, any thoughts about going into coaching?
I've talked to my dad about it a little bit. I would love to be a strength coach at one of the high schools or something, just like starting off coaching and stuff, because that's something that I enjoy, and I feel like I could help.
All right. Last year you did partnered up with the Children's Center for Coats, and how did that go last year, and what was the response like on that?
At first, I was a little bit nervous about it. I didn't know how it would turn out, but it ended up turning out really good. I think we raised around 350 coats for kids that needed it, and it was just a blessing to be able to do that and to see like all the coats and stuff that were raised by our community.
So if somebody approached you to do something like that next year, you'd be open for the partnership on it?
Oh yeah, 100%. I would.
All right. Okay. Kolby, you got anything else you want to say hey to anybody else, or
No, I'm good. I will say I'm disappointed that we didn't have something like this when I was in high school. I think it would have been a lot of fun, but that's basically it.
Well, I take that as a compliment. I'm thankful. I think Ben, and as you've seen here tonight, and I just want to speak, I think I speak for you guys, this setup here at the C. Michael A. Technology Center is amazing. I'm thankful we're here tonight, and Greg Bond for his work on this, and not just Greg, but Travis Selvage and Lietta. Boy, I know they had a lot to do with Tony Duncan with the setup, and they've worked hard to give us a good home here in January, and I wish we had it then too, and I'm thankful that we have it now.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for joining us, Kolby.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, that's Kolby Morgan, former Oneida punter and running back, by the way, and current University of Tennessee punter. Our first Plateau DrugCenter and Scott County Pharmacy legend of the game. And guys, that's going to do it for us. We'll go ahead and sign off. Let's thank some folks, and that includes first and foremost Greg Bond and the entire staff here at the Technology Center for getting this set up and for inviting us here. And we'll be back here again next week and throughout the remainder of basketball season. Also to Trophy Masters for all the stuff that you see here on set. And Tony Duncan, Tim mentioned him, and the folks at Little's Drugs and Jeffers Tax Service as well. For Rick Heaton, for Tim Smith, I'm Ben Garrett. A reminder, tomorrow night, Oneida and Sky High, both on the air on the IH Sports Network. Pregame will begin at 6:15 tomorrow night. We'll see you then.